live.
Hello and welcome to our HTV live stream. Today, this is our 6th edition. My name is Joella and this is my colleague Thomas.
Hello, everybody.
We are members of the Holy Tisch team. Holy Tisch is an event and content platform centered around the future of food. And we're going to have a big event in September from the 16th to the 18th. There we're going to hold a future food convention. And in the meantime, we interview people we find interesting. And today we have a very special guest all the way from Peru. Her name is Sofia Rubio Chavez. Sofia is a biologist and entrepreneur. I don't know if we see her yet.
Yes, we see her. Hi, Sofia.
Hi, Joella. Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
Hello.
She is the founder of a company named HTV, and they collect and harvest commercially the most wildest nuts from the Amazon region in Peru. And maybe you're gonna introduce yourself more properly and tell us about yourself now, Sofia, and your company maybe.
Yeah. Thank you for this space time for sharing about the Amazon region in Peru. Yes, I'm a biologist and I grew up in the jungle in the Amazon region in Madre de Dios region in the southeast in Peru. And my family has a place in the forest like we call El Castañal, where the nuts coming from. I grew up going with my father to the forest because he was part of a manager of a national park. So that's why I decided to be at the end a biologist to understand better where I was. So yeah. Here I am.
And your father is a biologist as well, right?
He's a forest engineer. Yeah. So I went with him to the jungle when I was 7, 6, 8, and then so I really fall in love with the nature, and nature is the way that I live in. So when I decided to create HTV as a biologist was because there was a big separation between the nature world or the natural world and the market and people, and economies. So usually these big things were completely separate and sometimes fighting to each other. So I decided in 2011, 9 years ago, to create a company, but trying to set a different way of doing business, facing nature and using nature, but with respect and with another conception, with the men know in the middle, with the humans know in the middle and up, instead of that as a part of a system. And yeah, that is HTV.
And HTV, maybe to understand it better, HTV collects the Amazon nut, and Amazon nut is the castaña, right? And you?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So HTV, at the beginning, it was because we were collecting it calls Brazil nut, but it comes from the Amazon region, from Bolivia, Brazil, and Peru. So we call it castaña, as in Spanish from Europe, but it's not the same species. This is Brazil nut, and we want to call it Amazon nut. So this nut, we've been collecting this nut for years, till one day in 2009, with the economic crisis in Europe and in the North Hemisphere, the price in the forest goes really down, really bad price for people for going to collect the nut. So people around were saying, I don't want to go to pick up the nut because we don't have money with this price. So I would go to do some timber activities, or to do some logging and mining or agriculture, we can cut down the forest and do some agriculture and have some more money. So I thought, okay, so why we are really dependent on this price or depending on the foreign market to protect or to live or to protect the relationship with the forest, or to change or not the way that we are using the land. So that's why I start thinking in giving some added value to the nut and to closer the market, so to getting the market closer to us and to the source, and changing the way to see in the resources. And this is not just happening with the Amazon nut, it's happening with many other ingredients and resources from nature.
Can you speak to at what time the initial trend of introducing the nut on the international market, and when did you become super reliant upon the international market in the first place? Can you speak to this?
So this nut is really commercial. It started 50 years ago or around, but nobody knows what is the source and how it grows behind, and nobody usually knows about how the food grows and how the food is made. So sometimes it's wild, sometimes it's harvested, sometimes we are really attached with the trendy food, and we don't care where we are step on, and we want that, no? So for example, about nuts, that is one thing that I know. Like, it's really cool and it's really tasty. A good almond here, wherever you are, but you don't know if they are cultivated, if they are cultivated in California or in the south in Chile. But we don't have this here, and so, well, about that, so nobody knows this origin on how the food is made. So this nut was in the market, is in the market already. You have it. It has a lot of names in different places, but I think 10 years ago or around, it's the people notice a little bit more. There are new chefs who are introducing them in the menus. It's people talking about that, and that's nice. That's good for the nut, for the people who work with the nut, and for the forest.
Are you never afraid that somehow you're gonna be like too commercialized, and then maybe you you extinct somehow the nut, because then there's so much value and everybody loves it and everybody wants it?
That is the tricky part of leading with the market, no? But the market, it's a tool for conservation, if I see in the Shiwi way. But as a tool, it's dangerous too. If you put the focus just in this, in one species, one sexy species, and then everybody wants it. But that is not the problem of the market necessary, or it is not the problem of the source. It's a problem, or is a chance to be unbalanced, but of the system. So when I sell the nuts, when I at the beginning more than now, but I was talking about, if you want more nuts, you don't have, because this year nature didn't give you that amount of nuts. But that's why, and that is another important part of Shiwi, is that what you should do with the same piece of land, the same part of forest, that increase the money that you can get, or the benefit that you can give to your client or to the people who want it. So that's why the added value or technology or knowledge or art has to be involved in this system. So yes, it is difficult to lead to make a good balance between this market waste and conservation of nature. But in the other way, if you don't use the market, these resources are little by little being forgotten, and nobody is, even in the source, in the place where people live close to the forest or the nature, little by little, we are eating more or less the same. We are eating rice, we are eating corn, we are eating wheat, and that is everywhere. And it's a shame. It's a pity. Yeah.
I remember last week we had a phone call and you told me about a very special food festival from the ancient tribes. I remember that. Something then, and then you add the value again to like different diversity food and highlight it again, and nobody knows it anymore. So more or less the same, right?
Well, in Peru, everything is related with food, and I think everywhere. But in Peru, it's crazy how the things are related with food and with territories and with cultures. So every week there is a festival of something.
Okay.
But yeah, last week we were talking about the solstice when the sun is closer to the earth, and there is they are together the cultural festivities, the traditional festivities with the Catholicism, and that's why they are bigger. So there are really a lot of festivals around. In Cusco is the Inti Raymi, so the sun festival, and in the jungle, in the Amazonian, there is La Fiesta de San Juan, that is really a festival around some kind of special food. So yeah, there is a lot of to talk about, but yeah, there are the San Juan.
Would you say that your overall impression is that a lot of the food that grows close to you has been left behind by the people because all the international food was imported? And to which extent do people in their everyday life still eat local food versus imported food?
This is a really interesting question, and think that the system, if you zoom out the food system and you go and see the planet, the problems with food and with agriculture are really unbalanced now. Food that is being grown in United States and with different policies there, or in Europe with policies that work with their farmers, they have consequences here or there or in Taiwan or in Japan. So when day by day we can see that, because we just have hungry, and then we can go and eat something, no? But the rice or the wheat that comes here sometimes, or the different other things come here or come to a place, and sometimes is even cheaper than the food that we can grow. So how a farmer can compete with that? And then that happens not just in the jungle, it happens in the Andes, it happens in the coast. And sometimes it's just about law, and just about law outside of of our hands. Or so I think in the cities are the best allies for this new and homogeneous food for everyone. If you are far from the land or far from nature, more homogenic is your food, and that's a problem for nutrition for people. And if that food goes more up in the Andes, or down or deep in the forest, then it could be a problem for people, for health.
Just because I think a lot of our viewers and our community are based in Germany or Europe at least, can you give us a bit of a better picture about the structure that you have in Peru? Like what percentage of the population is living in cities? What percentage of the population is still doing agriculture professionally, or at least personally for their own personal consumption? Do you know these numbers roughly?
Yeah, more or less. I'm not a professional in that, but We are 30 million, and 11 or around are in Lima, just in this big city. So it's 1/3 of all this. And then that is one thing to have in mind. Then there are different cities, and usually people is there, but we still have a lot of farmers and traditional farming, and indeed, like 80% of the farming, the food that we eat comes from small farmers, less than 5 hectares per family. So it's really interesting, and that's why we are really lucky here, and you can eat everything when you want, almost when you want in the year. Because if it's not coming from here, it's coming from there, and if it's not coming from there, and there's avocados almost every day, every year, in the year, and that is crazy. So, and different kind of mangoes, and we have a mix of native food and exotic food, but it's really old in our land, and we think that is native from these lands.
Yeah. Because our exotic fruits in the supermarkets are your normal breakfast.
Yes. This exoticity is really interesting for markets. Yeah.
Concerning Shivi, can you explain, are you working with indigenous people, or who is harvesting?
Well, me and my family, we are a lot of girls. So we are not really strong for carrying that big bags of nuts, and sometimes we have help with local people. We in Shiwi we are working now with there's a national community reserve, and it calls Amarakaeri, and with them we have a treat. Yes,
a deal, yeah.
A deal, yes. Sorry, about a specific line of our products. So we are for trying this added value thing. We are working with them. We put some added value, and we made a cosmetic oil, Amazon nut oil cosmetic that is closer to our argan oil. So it's really cool. It's really cool, and it's the first part of, we think, a long-term relationship. But yeah, there are many groups and people in different communities, indigenous communities along the Amazon region, like 40 groups with different language, different cultures. So it's not really easy when you want to work in one way, or if with market or with entrepreneurship. So it's challenging to work with this different point of view, but it's perfect because that diversity of thoughts and culture make better the solutions. And that's why diversity, and here we go with diversity in this talk. The diversity at the end, for me, and I think is the best tool for change, for problems. So not just biodiversity, but in general diversity, cultural diversity, and so on. So yeah.
But talking about biodiversity, what do you see like the problems in your Amazon region? What would you say are the highlights where you say, oh, we really have to work now on this topic?
So
or
other okay. So the proposal through Shiwi is to eat biodiversity to save it. If we eat more diverse, if we eat, and not necessarily we make the gold through it, no, we make a lot of money with that, but why not? But really in a different way of seeing, a different approach of the system. But yeah, if we eat more diversity, we can still grow in this diversity in the lands, in the farms, we can go to the forest and no take out all, no cut it down, and put some rice and corn and soya, and instead of that, we can go there and grow different varieties of cacao, and cacao is cocoa, different varieties of a banana or manihot or different other things that we have already before. So I think the best practice every day, because we are eating every day, for saving or for a better relationship with nature is eating biodiversity, eating them, using them. What we are wearing now, what we are buying in the stores, what we are asking for, what we are using in our skin or for makeup, if this come from better source, more diverse, and are going to be better, I think. Yeah.
Can you, one topic that we always come across is like seeds and the seed production, and how, I mean, here in Europe, the seed market is already firmly in the hands of a few big seed companies, which are very famous, so most people know the names anyways. But now the question becomes, I don't know, how is it in Peru? Are they already firmly in the market as well, or is it still diverse but the farmers are now struggling, or how is the situation there? Because biodiversity, and especially when you talk about the different varieties of bananas, if you come to Germany, you get bananas. We don't even know that there are different varieties, right? So but there used to be, and conserving this, of course, should be a big goal, especially because it's super adapted to your countryside.
I'm a resident. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, we know the name and it's German. But yeah, seed is a really big topic, and it's really nice because a seed is really small and it have everything in it and all this, the secret of life. No, it's more the second option that you were talking about. So people, this small farm system has people behind, but these people is not having fun. These people is struggling, as everywhere, I guess, but more now. A lot of people leave the countryside and go to the city to look for a better life, and so there are just few people who are resting there or being there, still growing lots of varieties. And for example, with potatoes, potatoes is one thing that it's come from this place, and there are around 4,000 varieties, and there are people who 10, 20 years who are looking for these new varieties. But in the market, the price, it was just 3, 4, 5 years ago that it's going a little bit up than the normal, really bad price for potatoes. But there are people, yes, there are, and we call them conservacionistas, but sorry for my English. So these people who are doing this conservation of seeds, they are not being paid for that. They are usually in not really good situation, in healthy things, insurance, and all these modern things, good things for them. But for example, I was some years ago, 1 year ago, I was there was a festival of potatoes in Ayacucho. There is a region here in the Andes. So the winner, they had like 500 something varieties in a small place, and he won. And what he won was pasta, like 100 kilos of pasta and 100 kilos of rice. It was the price for this content. It was the price for this guy who has the variety. So how do you think it's going to be his lunch or the sons or daughters of the people who live younger with them. So it's not going for a good way. But in the other hand, there is in the cities where most of this information was lost, there are another hero that is the chef, the gastronom, the people who is more and more the foodies, the people who is really curious about what is there behind and why this is not anymore in the cities. So I guess if we have it there, we need to work now with everyone for save this kind of variety and diversity. And going back to the seed, sorry, going back to the seed, and this is really important for Peru now. This year is the last year that we have a law that stop the seeds, the GMO, like the modified, genetic modified organisms.
Yeah.
So they are not allowed here till this year that we are discussing, and we need to make again the law for stop these seeds coming here.
Do you think it's gonna happen that you will, or do you think it's over now and GMOs coming flooding to Peru?
Well, it happens 10 years ago, and a lot of people moves around, people from society like you and me, and we did it, and we stopped, well, together and lead it by really nice people and wise people, and we stopped it for 10 years. And that 10 years, the last year of that is this year. So I know a lot of people is moving around. There's a lot of movement. I'm not going to talk about names, but there's a lot of people talking about now about that topic. But it's really important, because otherwise we're going to lose these seeds and these people behind, and these nutrients behind too.
And how would you say, how high is the level of awareness that people generally have about this? Because what is quite interesting is, so here when it comes to variety and cultivating or maintaining the natural variety, it's too late. We have lost it, and now there are people trying to rebuild it. But in the times when it was lost, when the seed companies came and the market was gained, there was not a lot of awareness that this could become a problem. For market reasons and because society was at a certain state. Now you more or less can or could in theory benefit from the fact that some countries already have this problem acutely, and then thanks to the internet and connectivity nowadays, in theory it's super knowable. Is it something where you see, okay, there is a lot of awareness amongst the people, or does the majority of people who are in agriculture not really care? What is your perception there?
No, I see there is more people sensible about that, sensitive about that, and not just here. It's everywhere, and you can notice. I think it's related with this climate change action, and is all in the same thing. We are more sensitive to nature, to preserve it, and with that sensitivity comes this food thing too, no? So yes, the people is more aware about this when we lost the diversity. We think more about air when we can't breathe, you know. We think more about sun when we are not have options. No? So it's easier. And now with this COVID thing, for me, it's a really cool side to push a little bit more the people and to think about this. And this time, it's a great time to think about transformation. And we were thinking before, but not everyone. And as you see, as much curiosity have people, we're gonna go for a better way, a better path.
But maybe a small scale farmer in Peru, how you connect these kind of persons to all these problems and talks and stuff? Maybe, I know you're a slow food member in Peru, maybe this is working or...
Yes, so I'm part of a slow food movement here too, since 2016, and it's one of the things that it makes me more comfortable with the actions that we are having with the system, with food system here in Peru. So it's a big team of voluntary people, and there is one side, and we call it Seaside, that is a meeting of young farmers. So we make two times. This is every 2 years. So we put all together all young people who is in the farms, and we talk and we meet each other, people from the Andes to people from the forest, and little by little this network is growing, and these people is going in the same level of conversation, and we are having more tools, and here I am talking about this. So, and yeah, slow food movement here for me, it's good. It's playing an interesting role, not just for young people, and then for the law about the GMO too. And another thing about the COVID, and another positive thing, is that everyone now in the countryside, these young farmers, everyone has a phone and have WhatsApp, and then Zoom, and then all these tools, magic tools that bring all them together. And
like we have it now.
Yeah, like we and maybe people from many other places. Yeah, so with our friends in Taiwan and Korea and everyone, and English is a good tool too, even if it's a lot like my English. But yes, so for example, there is one guy his name is Jesus, and he is teaching to other young people how to use the social media tools for improve the behavior of the entrepreneur initiatives, not the ideas. So some of them are growing chickens, and some of them are growing tomatoes, and they're organic. So little by little, these tools are bringing all this information to the consumers, and the consumers are, for me, it's the most difficult part, because it's people. There is something that we need to connect between what we talk and what we do, and this 9 years in Shiwi was for me a class of how can this connection can be done, or can be rebuilt, because it's not easy when we talk about these issues, and then we go and our practice every day are not coherent.
So what are the main problems you have seen there? Because that's quite interesting, the intersection between or the interface between consumers and producers. What are the problems you've experienced firsthand?
Well, that is the thing, no? Between this market and nature, it's people. One thing is the short-term thing. People need something, and need now, and need in the best quality, and need. And this freedom from want and this behavior make the source more pressure, and it's everything about efficiency and low price and low quality and no long-term relationships and no long-term shelf life for products. So everything's more you don't reuse it, you just throw it away. So all these features are lead to the same goal in a line to somewhere we don't want to go. So that's why. Mm-hmm.
What were some of the things that you did to tackle this or try to rebuild a closer relationship to the clients? Anything that worked super well for you in your own business?
So in my own business, at the beginning, I was talking more than I was selling. And I was talking a lot about how this nut grows. It takes 1 year to be ready for eating or for taking. The tree it's 40 meters long, and sometimes it's more than 200 years, and this or 500 years. So, and these nuts were come from the same tree that can feed the Spanish people coming 500 years ago. So and you know how people is working with this instead of doing that. So for me, education and information of people, it's a really good tool. And little by little, this becomes in storytelling, but it's not the fake way of using it. It's the being try to be closer to. It's not a certification. I know when we are farther to each other, we need more certificates to, hey, I am organic because you don't know me. So, or I am fair trade because you don't know me and you don't try me, you know. So for me, this separation, it's because we don't know enough from each other to trust. So for Shiwi, one of the best things, I guess, and I hope, it is the education of the client, the information. And another important thing is quality. And that is one thing that I learned again last year in Europe in university. High quality products can be really good, related really closer to origin, to people, to traditions. So when these two things go together, you really can get high quality, but you have to learn what is high quality. In the wine industry, it happens. In the cheese industry, it happens. So if you bring a cheese and somebody can't see the mold in a Roquefort cheese, you're gonna say, "Oh, this is rotten. This is not good cheese." But it's because you don't know, or because these people don't know how a cheese in that way it is. So bad or good is not. It's a matter of education.
But do you have the feeling it worked now? That people know Shiwi right now and are like, okay, I'm gonna trust the brand because you did so much storytelling. Do you think that's this kind of tool most of the people should do, or?
I guess it's not. I don't know if it works for big companies, but that is another thing that I believe that no every company has to be huge. We are small and bigger and taller, or black, white, different people. So why not different companies are here too? But I think it works. It works well, and people who want something like that, coherent, with all these values, quality, respectful, formal, all these values are close to Shiwi. But there's the other people too, and there is products coming from Asia imported that cheaper than that, and than Shiwi or than local products, and if people is buying that too. So they're everything for everyone.
I mean, I think to me it makes a lot of sense to see, okay, there is information, there is quality that is really important in this context, and to make people aware of quality, you need to inform them well. If I wanted to be a bit critical about this point, and I would like to know your opinion, you could say, okay, but then that comes from somewhat more or less quote unquote privileged position where people can take the time to care about product quality, because even if it's not more expensive, but probably it's even more expensive than other product, then at least taking the time to inform yourself, to care about your food and what you're eating, is really not something you can do when you're struggling on an existential level, or even if you're just trying to make rent at the end of the month. Then probably you don't care about this so much. If you have, I don't know, 3-4 children, and then you don't care about how your chicken was raised, that would be the critical position at this point. But what is your experience from talking to so many people? Is there something to it, or do you say, well, many people where you would be surprised can create this sense for quality?
Yes, I know what you mean, and I agree with some of this part of your position too. But one thing that I see when I go to the nature places, to the rurality, to the small towns, there is no people without food. There are land, and there is time. There is time, and there is seeds. There are seeds, and there are neighbors, and there are tools. So where I saw more of this poverty and this lack of time or this lack of things are more in the cities. In the cities where things are not balanced, where you are measuring the goodness or through money, and not through another things, not through health or happiness. So that's why I have not the position to be extreme in, good quality is the best and tool, but good quality is a good potato harvest in your hands, or a good tomato made in your small place in the city. So that is quality too. So yeah, I agree with you, but I show you these other examples.
No, I really think you're hitting a point, and it was more like I'm taking this critical position because it exists. To me, it's like, if you once you start caring for quality in food, you can find quality in the simplest things, and then they might be a bit more expensive, but also probably you don't need as much because it's so filling and it's so nourishing if you get the good quality, because all this is interrelated, right? So probably finding a great potato or a great salad, that is my perspective. But the other one, yeah, I mean that is on the monetary aspect. On the time aspect, yeah, I mean if you're really struggling, then caring about food, maybe if it doesn't come naturally. It reminds me a bit of, we had Carolyn Steele on here in a stream, and she made a similar point like you, because what she was saying was, hey, look, what we need to care about is how do we want to live, what should we value. And so you made the same connection. You said, well, in the cities where it's all about money and efficiency, people have a problem, but even the poorer people on the countryside might be happy, more happy, and they care for, they have a different relationship to their food. And I think there is clearly something to this, right?
Yeah. Sorry, Jojo, you want to say something?
No, I just say it must be. And also maybe through all of this, people who are the producers can sell their stuff to a better price, so that they can have like a more decent value and pricing from as their salaries, right?
Yeah, and this is a matter again about diversity and why biodiversity is important. Because if you eat 1 kilo of, I'm not gonna talk about, it's corn, wheat, rice, white potatoes, but it's not the corn. Corn is amazing. There's a lot of varieties and it's delicious. But it's that corn that we grow in monoculture, in huge space, land, and etc., etc. So if you compare 1 kilo of this with 1 kilo or less of different food coming from different sources and a variety, so it's a menu, it's more diverse. of course it's going to be more nutritive. A lot of nutrients are going to be there, and you're not going to be starving after all, and there's not going to be obesity, and it's more and more and more the same. So that's why, again, it's different in quantity and in quality that diversity give us in the food. So yes, for sure, you don't need a lot. We now, the planet is growing, or is making food for 10 billion people that we are not. We are 7 now. So we are we are not managing well this food. There is a lot of food waste. There is a lot of this food, empty food. So this is not a problem of food. The poorness in some places are not the problem of the amount of food. It's sometimes the quality or the diversity of it, and in the other hand, the food waste that is everywhere. Yeah.
What do you think? What could change in the Amazon region now? What would be like? Where could we lead to a more balanced system? Do you think who I don't know who's in charge, or who would be the person who, or is it not a person? Is it a company, or is it Peru? I don't know.
It's everyone. I don't know if we can find there are some pictures that we can show maybe to the people, but now in my region,
if you just let me know, sorry Sofia, if you just let me know what you want me to put on the screen, which of the pictures, then I can put it up.
Yep, maybe the one that they say one, like the one series.
111 one?
Yes.
All right, I will put it on.
Yeah, good. So this is what I can see it, but I guess is the mining. So for example, this is an activity now that is what's happening 50 years ago, but in a scale that was managed, kind of. And the jungle was always seen as a place where you can go find whatever you want and steal it and extract it how much you want, and then you go and live there. People who live there, nature, mammals, diversity, it's not important for this kind of activity. So now the recent years is there the mining, the illegal and artisanal mining for gold that we have in the region, and it's really not good for the forest, because even the wood is valued for that. They are digging in the land trying to find the gold, and the social conditions and the economic conditions and anything is good for people there. It's just gold. So one of the first things is don't buy gold if you can avoid it. Another thing is, this is not a problem from 1 year ago. It's a problem for many years. For Peruvians, for example, don't see in that place. That place was forbidden or was forgotten, and that place was wild, and too much problems, too much illness, too much. It's not part of the territory. So now, little by little, with a little bit more of connection, the jungle, it's part of everywhere here, with these festivals, with this food. And again, chefs, people who is related with food are coming and bringing this a little bit of taste of jungle to the cities. And little by little, people is knowing and after that loving the wildness. No, it's a thing for everyone. Palm oil happening in the jungle. It is happening in the jungle in Asia, but it's happening here too. And palm oil, it's part of everything that we use at home. Many brands, I'm not gonna say the names, but even the soap, the shampoo,
it's in
many
everything.
things, every makeup. So if we are buying that, we are responsible of this part too.
So you would say the first or the easiest point to adapt into our own life is to check our consumption.
That's for me, it's the easiest and intense too, because we're doing every day. We are making decisions every day and about these resources. Not so palm oil, even cocoa. There are a lot of monocultures of cocoa now here in Peru in the jungle, and some of them are really good quality and origin, because cocoa comes from this part of the planet too. But there are the other one too, the cheapest, the commodity, the monoculture, blah blah. So it's not just what you are consuming. It is what exactly or where exactly it comes from. So we, as a consumers, we can push a little bit this step.
I can, in the meantime, I managed to get the picture on the screen, and so I think it might be a bit fuzzy, but if I see it correctly, you see this huge space in the middle of the woods where everything is just broken, shredded.
Yeah, this is the mining.
When have you taken this picture, or when was it taken?
No, it's a picture from, I think it's an overview. I can't see now the picture with you. I'm okay. I can see now. It's not. They are not my pictures. They are pictures from a journalist in a website. But this is part of maybe it's more for monoculture than mining. Mining, maybe there's another one for mining if you can change it. But yeah, this is monoculture. Usually are for palm oil or for soybean or for corn. They are good in the jungle.
Tell me which one you want me to open. Which number?
The one that they start with one.
Yeah.
Which? Yeah. All of them are from the mining, and then there are some other pictures. Don't worry if they're not exactly the same that I'm talking about. But yeah, if you can see, even in Google Maps, you can see
the deforestation.
How the deforestation are. Yeah, that is mining, I guess. Yes.
But so for Shiwi, you have, I forgot to talk about this in the beginning. For Shiwi, you have one protected area, right? Or I think you cannot own it.
Yes, no, because the forest that we can collect the nut, it's a national reserve. It's Tambopata National Reserve. So we start using that nuts, and it happens for years, and then we said that we can replicate the same model, and we look for our friends in the private concessions for conservation. That is a way that the people who has a private land or a community land can say to the government, hey, I want to save this for conservation for everyone. And it goes to the system, the big system. So we are working with some of these allies, and they are part of the Shiwi offer. So we work with honey from in the forest in Amazonas region, and with coconut oil that is growing in the San Martin region. So now there are like 7, 8 more producers, and the idea is growing in offer in the game of products, and everyone of the Shiwi offer, it's coming from a natural protected area.
Because in this way, I was thinking, in this way you could protect your part of the forest or grow more that people with mining or anything else, other monoculture cultivation, cannot go into this part and take your forest away.
Yeah, and it's more about needs and money. So if these people who is doing gold now because it's easier, but it's not really nice, it's not really healthy, it's not really easy in a physical way. If they have alternatives, if they have more industries going around and better ones, and maybe they give these industries and these entrepreneurship options, give them more money, why not? So it's about money, and it's about the opportunities that these people have to be part of an economy more integrated in it. No, so it's not just about don't come to my forest, don't touch it, because we can't not do this. In the past, the national parks, sometimes some of them were the vision for conservation was, I will put a wall here and don't come to kill my jaguars. So, but now, little by little, we realize as humans that the conservation can't last like this in this way forever. So it's everything about humans and everything about people. And if we increase the possibilities to these people go into a place in an economic pie, this kind of problems are going to decrease in the long term. Yes.
I'm just currently looking at our chat, and there are quite some nice words which I think are maybe nice for you to hear. So there is one person that goes by the name of ACP El Palmeral, who says that my conservation project began on the important information that I learned from you, Sophie. So I think that is pretty cool to hear. Probably you can tell us a bit more about what actually is behind this. And then other people like Claudia, Rubio, Chavez are saying amazing, and some other giving shoutouts. That is to say, if you're watching live and you have a question that you want to ask Sofia, please use the chat and we will happily ask you. But yeah, you initiate conservation projects. Sounds good.
No, I think she is a super brave woman who sells her house in one of the best places in Lima, and she said, okay, I'm going to go to the jungle and I will live this life and will build my house with wood there and grow my food and take care of a piece of land. So it's not my idea. It's a lot of people doing this, and in Peru and in other countries there is an algae, a big algae where we had for replication of shiwi. It's conservamos por naturaleza, that is in Spanish, and it's people, lawyers who are setting the frame to allow people who has lands in property or communities in property share this place or this nature for everyone. So as national parks belongs to everyone, these people and his lands on their lands are sharing this conservation and protecting these own lands for us. So this Conservamos por Naturaleza, it's a platform and it's really amazing with many kinds of projects that you can go in. And if you are a human in this planet and you have some lands or you have some closer relation with nature, the best thing that you can live your nature is sharing with more people. And that's another important tool.
This sounds pretty cool, and I would be happy if afterwards we could receive a link so we can put it in the description of the video here. But do you know in which countries or jurisdictions that works? Is it typical to I don't even know. I guess all South American, Latin American countries also have different legal systems. But do they do it for one country or for many countries?
they are doing this for Peru, but I know that in Chile it exists, and maybe it exists before here, and I know that it's now in Latin America and other countries. So, and the best part is that they are not an independent thing. They are going together with the national system of parks. So when you said that you have a specific amount of parks, these small places, you plus them and put together with this big package. I'm not sure in which other countries are, but I will look for it.
I think it's also a really nice philosophic statement that like the national park belongs to everybody. So everybody, we share it with everybody, but also is for everybody has the responsibility somehow to care about this place.
Yes, you're right. And it's not, national parks for me are amazing because it's one thing that we as a humans we agree with, and the human rights, of course. But everywhere you go, in every country, you have national parks, even if there are different categories of restrictions or use. Everywhere you go, you have national parks. So it's really nice to know people from Indonesia, from Madagascar, from Germany, and they are all the same. Like, hello.
A little bit different to your national parks.
No, you must have amazing parks, and yeah. I really like the way that you do some administration about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we are coming to an end right now. I have one last question, because I know you're going to be in Italy in September for Terra Madre, and I want to know the first thing you're going to eat when you arrive in Italy. What is it?
Depends, panna cotta or gnocchi castelmagno. Gnocchi castelmagno. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Terra Madre Festival is not having place physical this year. It's going to be a virtual period of many things, and maybe you can be together with all this celebration. It's going to be international and virtual.
Yeah, we're gonna meet for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sofia, for this wonderful talk and all this insight of the Amazon region in Peru.
Yeah, indeed, it was super interesting. Super interesting. Hopefully we can make it in live someday.
Yeah,
for sure.
We need to come to your jungle.
You should, and that is maybe a cherry, but we are doing vivencial gastronomic tourism from 5 years ago. So it's one in a year. You can come to the forest with us to collect your own nuts and to measure the effort that you can do for 30 grams of nuts. That is the portion of day that you usually buy. So yeah, welcome. Maybe in March every year. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
sounds great.
Thank you.
So for all the outro moderation, you want to go ahead, Joella?
Sorry?
For all the outro moderation, you want to go ahead, or you want me to advertise?
Thomas, you're the perfect advertiser. I think you can do it.
Okay, I will do my best. So everybody, if you enjoyed this and if you're interested in the future of food, then we would be super happy for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel here, and of course also to subscribe to our newsletter, the link to which you can find in the video description below. If you're watching this on YouTube at least, otherwise go to YouTube or holytisch.co. So yeah, we would be very glad to have you around. We have many exciting guests here on HTV. We will have the main conference in September, as Joella said initially. And that's it for today. See you soon. Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.